I never told my wife or son about what happened that night, but they knew something had changed in me. I was quieter, more distant. Even now, years later, I feel its presence. Sometimes when the house is silent and everyone else is asleep, I hear the faint rustle of pages turning in the dark. The library never let me go, and deep down, I know it never will. I tried convincing myself it was all in my head, stress from working nights, exhaustion playing tricks. But denial didn't last. My son came running to me one morning, pale and shaking. He said he woke in the night to the sound of someone whispering in his ear. The words were clear: "Your father belongs to us." That same week, my wife found a stack of library books on our kitchen table. None of us had checked them out. Each one was open to the same page, the same chilling sentence rewritten over and over. "He cannot escape." My wife screamed, demanding answers I couldn't give her. All I could do was gather the books and drive them back to the library, shaking the whole way. I left the books on the front desk, hoping someone else would find them. But when I turned to leave, the automatic doors refused to open. Behind me, books began sliding from the shelves one by one, hitting the floor in a deafening cascade. My hands pounded against the glass, desperate to get out. Then, as suddenly as it began, silence returned, and the doors slid open. At home, I checked the recorder we'd used months before during our ghost hunt. I had never deleted the files. I pressed play, listening again to that eerie voice counting. But this time, something new was on the recording. After the numbers ended, there was a pause, and then my name, spoken in a voice that wasn't human. Sleep became impossible. Each time I closed my eyes, I dreamed of the library's endless aisles. The shelves seemed to shift, trapping me in labyrinths. At the center of it all, I could see a dark figure waiting, its face obscured. When I woke, my chest ached as though something heavy had been pressing down on me all night. My wife threatened to leave. She said the house felt poisoned, that whatever haunted me was spreading through our family. I begged her to hold on, to give me time. But inside, I knew she was right. The fear wasn't confined anymore. It lingered in every corner of our lives. One evening, after my shift, I decided to confront it directly. I walked through the library with only a flashlight, recorder in hand. "Why us?" I demanded. My voice echoed in the vast, empty space. At first, there was no answer. Then a whisper slid through the dark. "Because you stayed." The lights above me flickered, one by one, plunging the library into near total darkness. My flashlight dimmed, and I realized I wasn't alone. From between the shelves, pale shapes moved. They weren't solid, more like shadows half-formed, drifting silently toward me. I stumbled backward, recorder still running, my heart pounding in my ears. Suddenly, a loud crash echoed through the building. I spun to see a stack of books falling from a top shelf, landing in a neat pile at my feet. I bent to look, and my blood froze. Each book was open to the same page. I fled, recorder still clutched in my hand. When I played it back later, the sound of my own panicked footsteps filled the speakers. But under it, another sound lurked: laughter. Low, guttural, and inhuman. It followed me all the way to the exit, and it didn't stop when I left the building. Back at home, I tried destroying the recorder. I smashed it with a hammer, threw the pieces in the trash. That night, at 3 a.m., I woke to hear it playing in the hallway. Clear as day, the counting voice whispered through the house. I opened the bedroom door, but the hallway was empty. The recorder was gone. The next day, my son found it in his room, perfectly intact. He begged me to stop, to leave the library forever. I promised him I would, but promises are useless when something has already claimed you. Deep down, I knew it wasn't over. It wouldn't let us go. I started researching the history of the building. Old newspapers revealed what I feared. Before it was a library, the train station had been the site of several unexplained deaths. Passengers vanished. Workers went missing. Some claimed the building itself was cursed, built on land where something darker had always lingered. The more I read, the more the pieces connected. The whispers, the laughter, the books opening to violent passages. It wasn't random. It was feeding on fear, binding us closer with every encounter. My last name appearing in those pages wasn't coincidence. It was a warning. One night, desperate for answers, I returned again. The air inside felt heavier than ever, suffocating. As I walked deeper into the stacks, the silence broke with a single word whispered from the dark. Closer. Against every instinct, I obeyed. My footsteps echoed as I moved toward the sound, heart hammering in my chest. I reached the back wall of the library, where an old wooden door stood. I had never noticed it before. My hands trembled as I pulled it open. A narrow staircase spiraled downward into darkness. Cold air rushed up to meet me, carrying with it the faint smell of rot. Against my better judgment, I descended. The basement was nothing like I expected. Rows of shelves stretched endlessly, far larger than the building above could possibly contain. My flashlight barely pierced the gloom. The whispers grew louder, overlapping, until they seemed to come from every direction. My recorder in my pocket clicked on by itself. I stumbled forward, feeling the walls pulse around me. The shelves here were filled with books bound in cracked leather, their spines etched with names, hundreds of them. My breath caught when I saw mine among them, a book that hadn't been there before, waiting for me. The moment I touched it, the whispers fell silent. I opened it, hands shaking. The pages were filled with scenes from my own life, written in perfect detail. Every memory, every mistake, every fear. The last page was blank, waiting. At the bottom, words began to form on their own. The story isn't finished. I dropped the book and stumbled backward, but the shelves closed in around me, trapping me. The air grew thick, and a shadow moved at the edge of my vision. I called out, my voice cracking. "What do you want?" The answer came immediately, whispered in unison from 1,000 voices. Forever. I ran, blind with panic, crashing through endless aisles. My flashlight flickered, then died, leaving me in total darkness. I could feel the presence behind me, pressing closer, dragging me deeper. Just when I thought I couldn't breathe, I saw a faint red glow ahead. The exit? Or a trap? I forced myself forward. The glow grew brighter until I stumbled into a small chamber. In the center stood a single chair, facing away from me. Someone was sitting in it. My knees shook as I raised my lightless flashlight, as if it could protect me. Slowly, the chair creaked as the figure began to turn. It was me, or at least it looked like me. Paler, hollow-eyed, grinning. My double leaned forward, whispering in my own voice, "You've already lost." I stumbled back, screaming. The chamber vanished, the shelves returned, and I was alone again, except for the laughter echoing through the dark. When I finally found the staircase and stumbled out, dawn was breaking outside, but nothing felt normal anymore. My reflection in the glass doors lingered a second longer than it should have, grinning when I wasn't. I fled, swearing never to return. But deep down, I knew it was too late. At home, my wife demanded answers. I tried to explain, but the more I spoke, the more her face twisted with fear. She said my voice didn't sound like mine anymore. My son refused to look at me, hiding behind her. In that moment, I realized the truth. Whatever I had seen in the basement had followed me back. The days blurred into nights. The laughter followed me everywhere, sometimes spilling from the vents, sometimes rising from the drains. My wife finally left, taking my son with her. I couldn't blame her. I only prayed it wouldn't follow them too. But when my son called me weeks later, crying that the whispers were in his new room, I knew it had. Desperate, I returned one final time, hoping to trade myself for their freedom. The library welcomed me like an old friend. The lights died the moment I stepped inside. I whispered into the silence, "Take me, just leave them alone." For a moment there was nothing. Then the voices answered, 1,000 whispers overlapping. It was never about them. It was always you. The floor beneath me split open, and I fell into darkness. Books rained down around me, their pages tearing, words scattering like ash. When I landed, I was back in the endless basement. My book was waiting, open to the final page. Slowly, words began to carve themselves into it. My hands shook as I read them aloud. "They will never know what happened to you. You are ours now. The story is finished." The words burned into the page, sealing my fate. The shells closed in, the whispers grew deafening, and I knew I would never leave. The library had claimed me, body and soul. And yet, even now, the story isn't truly over. If you ever walk into that library late at night, you may hear the faint sound of footsteps, or the whisper of a name that isn't yours. Maybe you'll feel the urge to open a book lying face down on the floor. If you do, be careful, because once you read the words, the library will know you.